Next, so mindfulness. There's a definition out there, actually let me pull it up, of mindfulness. I thought it was interesting. Mindfulness is a type of meditation in which you focus on being intensely aware of what you're sensing and feeling in the moment without interpretation or judgment. So I thought that was really good, but I would say the only piece that's missing is knowing what that's talking about, is knowing who you are. Giving intention to, this is what my body's feeling right now. I need more rest. I'm tired, I should go to bed. I'm hungry, I should eat this and eat quality foods. And listening to and actually practicing this, not just in a moment of meditation, but throughout your day, is being aware of what your body needs and giving it that. I always say, do we eat because we're hungry or do we eat for fuel? And things like that. And so paying attention is like, what's my body feeling? My nasal cavities are kind of feeling really dry. Oh, you might need to hydrate more, different things like that. And so being mindful of what's going on, but then the most important one, the part that the definition missed for me of why I coined this mindfulness as one of the 7 pillars, is knowing who we are, yes, but also whose we are. Because if we start there as the foundation of our identity, of our mindfulness, if I know that I am Christ and Christ died for me, and that is the premise of the foundation that I operate every day of my life from, how much more freeing is it to live life? Like I don't have this major expectation of what I'm supposed to be able to achieve in a day, because Christ loved me so much that he would die for me on the cross, take my place, take the sinful nature that I have and replace it with his perfect nature, so that when God looks at me, he sees perfection. Like, it's such a relief of consciousness to live in that state of mindfulness. So when I talk about mindfulness, that's what I'm talking about.
And sometimes you may have to knock it all down to rebuild that foundation. There may be a lot of 30 years worth of undoing that you have to do to get to there, to create that foundation and build up from there.
Absolutely.
That's where journaling comes in.
Journaling, Abbie's favorite mindfulness practice,
my favorite thing.
Is get it out of there. I just let it rattle around until it stresses me out and I lose my cool.
And I have to sit down and I'm like, what is wrong?
But mindfulness, guys, there's a lot to unpack there, but it is certainly a pillar to your vitality. So lastly, movement. All right. How do you think you do with movement?
If farm chores and lifting kids and wiping butts is movement, I do it really good. If carrying chicken feed and pig feed and walking over to the animals, I'm great.
That is good. And there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
I think there is. I would love for you and others, I said this, movement daily with intention. And I said, I think for moms, especially stay-at-home moms, this is one of the hardest ones because you're always at somebody else's beck and call. You don't get that hour, perfect world, okay? Perfect world, nobody come at me. But perfect world, I'd love for an hour a day.
Yeah.
Movement, move your body, go out for a walk, enjoy the fresh air, just do something with intention of, I'm not doing anything else, I'm moving my body today in this moment. Again, not an easy one to accomplish in certain areas of life. There's moments and times in my life where I put it on the back burner, but I know I'm my best version of myself whenever I am moving my body and I'm doing that kind of stuff with that type of intentionality. So we got to move. I don't care if it's lifting weights, if it's just stretching, going for a walk, a 30 or 45-minute walk. I saw this hilarious Instagram reel that says, I'm not saying a walk could cure everything. I'm just saying there's nothing a walk can't help, going out and just being in the freshness of God's creation and breathing that air, looking around and saying, wow, look at all this beauty around me. It just puts you in a totally different state of being and builds an amazing foundation for your vitality. That's hard to say.
It is, but it's good. And I think it's a great place to start.
Absolutely. And remember, guys, this is 30,000-foot view. So maybe we'll unpack each one of these in a different podcast. Let us know which ones you struggle with the most. And tell me if you think there's an 8th pillar of vitality. See you guys next time. Welcome to the Natural Parents Podcast, where we will cover all things faith, health, family, and wealth through a biblical perspective of putting things in life that matter most back into order. We're reminded in Matthew 6:33, where Jesus said, "But seek first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and all of these things will be added unto you." Join us each week as we focus on what truly matters most in this life and passing those values on to the next generation. This is the Natural Parents Podcast with Ryan and Abbie Hukin. All right, so today let's talk about all things mindfulness and movement. Last 2 pillars of the 7 pillars of vitality. So again, recap, got adaptability, detoxification, nutrition, hydration, rest, and then these 2 today, mindfulness and movement. These 7 things, you do them exceptionally well, I believe you're going to be a very healthy human.
So I think mindfulness can be a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but it really is defined as just being present and aware of your thoughts and emotions and surroundings without judgment. So not telling yourself, well, you shouldn't be feeling like that, or,
Yeah. 2 things come to mind. First one, I'll say this. I heard this said one time, true peace is letting people be wrong about you. So that without judgment piece you just said was like, I could just, like, my shoulders sag. It's like, yeah, you know what? Even doing these, sometimes like, oh man, what are people going to say? Think about that. What is this? How's that going to go?
Imposter syndrome is a real thing.
Yeah. But then we always talk about how mindfulness truly in this as a pillar stems from knowing who you are because of whose you are. Yeah. And we believe that God created us, and he created us in such a way to long and desire for knowledge of him, right? And we live our way in such a way, or we live our life in such a way that's 1, pleasing to God, but 2, honoring to him by telling more people about him. And I think when we start to live our life less about, for ourselves and with our own, for lack of a term, albeit sometimes selfless, mostly by human nature, selfish desires, we start to lose track of that. And then our life gets all disarrayed and we feel without purpose, or, a lot of anxiety and a lot of different things going on. But really, if we just come back to knowing, like, oh, there's one centralized truth here, and that's God loves me. And if I operate every single day from that standpoint, there's just one thing every day that I need to do, and it's whatever he tells me to do.
Yeah, and I think that this, along with many other things in life, I myself find myself guilty of feeling like there has to be a destination, and it's not just an ongoing journey that every day that you try at it, that you will be better. And that's not to say you will have a day where you feel like you have fallen off and there is no getting back on. And I think that that's just the ebb and flow of life, but that also keeps you on the pursuit of it because you crave that. And, mindfulness can strengthen your mental clarity. It can reduce your stress. It can help with decision making. And I know that I find that whenever I'm overwhelmed anytime, it's because I haven't done enough mindfulness. And, whenever you're a mom and you have younger children, the questions and the needs, that can all just be,
hey, Mom.
Yeah. How many, like, sometimes when Ryan's home, he's like, seriously, like, this is, and then it's like you sit down, well, they all want to sit on your lap, and all of them, there is no taking turns. Oh, you just sat down to eat? Okay, then everybody needs something.
How much and how often do moms, and if any of you are moms out there may identify with this, that you identify first and foremost as mom? Like, but who are you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's like, always, you ask me that a lot, and I'm like, I'm just mom right now. But it's like, I love that identity. I really don't want to ever grow out of that. I know that will be a day, and so that is something that it's like, okay,
Well, and I don't want to, me saying that, diminish the value that is being mom either. What I'm saying is that, as I tell our girls all the time, that God loved you so much and loves you so much that he made a way. That way has a name. His name is Jesus. And Jesus endured what he'd endured, dying on a cross, because he loves you so much that he wanted to spend his whole life with you. So he thinks you're pretty dang awesome.
Yeah.
Whether you think so or not, whether you're a mom stuck in mom shame or mom guilt mode right now or not. But there's just this thing in our society that happens all the time where we start to, one, maybe position ourselves in contrast to someone or someone's else's life. And that's not the way God wants it to be. Mm-hmm. He wants you to know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. He did that with a purpose, for a purpose, on purpose, like all those different things. And it's like, don't diminish, yes,
who you are right now because of the title or the role or whatever you're carrying. Like, God put you in that position for a reason. He has big hopes and dreams for you in that role, but also like know that you're not alone in that. People feel how you're feeling right now, or, different things like that. And it's just like you said, a daily maybe practice to remind ourselves that I need to be more mindful of who I truly am.
Yeah. And I think just doing that, but also just giving your brain a minute to be, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about, when we were talking about rest as well. And I really believe our phones and people's access to us and social media are huge to blame and play a role in this. But, when was the last time that you just sat down for a moment and, took some deep breaths and maybe thought of 3 things that you were grateful for without reaching for your phone? When was the last time you went to the bathroom without your phone? You know what I mean? Like, it just simple things like that it's like you feel like it's attached to you everywhere. You feel like, oh, I'm going to walk over to the laundry, I got to take my phone, like, what if it rings? And just different things like that. Even though we should never be that available, we should never be that way, and it just really steals our ability to bring more calm to our day, which will only make us more patient with the loved ones that we are around, whether that be a spouse or your children. When we get interrupted for the 100th time and that just sends us right over the edge, it's like, what would that have been like had I been more mindful during the day and just really took some time? I think you'd be a lot more patient.
Sure. Yeah. And what we talk about all the time, starting your day that way, starting with gratitude. You guys have heard us talk about how we always encourage the kids to give us, give me 3 things right now, especially when they're in a very negative, spiraling emotional turmoil, over sis stole my this or that. It was like, hey, give me 3 things that you really are thankful for today or grateful for. And they'll be like, Mom, Dad, family. It's like, no,
nope, try again.
Try again. Right? Like, let's give some real ones. And so, do you think realistically, as a mom who homeschools, comes with the challenges that is scheduling your day and all that kind of stuff? Do you think like scheduling mindfulness practices in the day is a realistic possibility?
Not really.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just the stage that we're at right now of just life. And that, I think it's more so just finding the things that are keeping you from doing it, whether that is reaching for your phone to, whatever it is, whatever is distracting you from doing that in the few moments of calm that you have. I think that that's where you need to be ready to pencil that in. But I think sometimes some things, if you are too scheduled, it feels just so rigid and like, okay, let's check that off my list, versus if you just get in the habit of practicing that mindfulness and deep breathing and just being present in the moment and not constantly escaping to whatever your escape is, I think that can really go far.
Yeah. And this, again, anything I ever say, my prayer and hope is that it's not condemning, but it would be convicting, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
And so, like, on that note, right? So just, we're talking to parents right now. You guys maybe felt convicted by Abbie's, when was the last time you went to the bathroom, without your phone statement? I know I was at times. And so what if, this was the thought that I had, it's like, what if every time we picked up our phone, we picked up God's word?
Yeah.
Right? And so if that's truly what we're talking about, is that's where mindfulness stems from, then we need to be surrounding ourselves and filling our mind with what God has and had to say about us. And so integrating that and taking it towards, our prayer life or our spiritual walk, or just trying to, honestly, people always say, like, just trying to be the best version of myself and different things like that. It's like, the best version of you is the most Christ-like version of you. And so can we find ways to do that in our daily life? Yeah. Okay. You're right. Scheduling a 5-minute thing, in the middle of the homeschool day or whatever, right? It's probably not a viable option. However, moments like that where, okay, I took my phone to the bathroom, but I do have the Bible app on it. Let's see what it has to say today. Oh my gosh,
that's so funny. And if you're don't come for us and say that it's so gross that people take their phones to the bathroom.
Everybody does it.
You do it. And if you don't, then hopefully you don't also go to a gas station bathroom and then walk in your house with the same shoes. Just saying.
That's Abbie's number one thing.
That's my number one thing. When people try to wear shoes in my house, I'm like, but you've been in a gas station bathroom guaranteed at some point in those shoes, and they are not coming in here.
Very, very true. So, yeah. Okay. So, no, I think, guys, that we could do an entire one on mindfulness and discussing that. And maybe we'll go deeper on some of those ways that we can integrate that into our life. But that's the most important reason. Like, I mean, honestly, this could be pillar number one. I just really like the way that it flows to say mindfulness and then movement at the end. So take it for what it's worth. Know who you are because of whose you are, and be super mindful of that.
Yeah. Mindful of your movement. Oh. And, so something about me is that I still struggle with feeling like if I am going to exercise, it has to almost kill me. I shouldn't be able to walk, even though I don't like any of those feelings, or else it didn't do anything. But Ryan is like helping me. We're kind of helping each other because he feels like that a lot of times as well. He'll go run 37 miles and not feel accomplished. But
what's wrong with that?
I really have been liking the cycle syncing workout idea just for women. Obviously, each week of your cycle, assuming you have a normal 30-day cycle, just what your body is going to handle best. And so, any walking and stretching, yoga, movements like that is amazing and going to go a long way. So if you have the opportunity to do that, but you maybe don't have a weight rack at home, just be encouraged in that and know that that does count and is so important and will really improve your mental health, physical health.
Yeah. Well, and again, I'll reiterate this. I don't think I've ever actually said it, but the pillar is called movement. It's not called strenuous, exercise. Like it's called movement because if we weren't made to move, God would have made us rocks, but he didn't. He made us these mobile bodies with a movable spine and segments and joints and all this kind of stuff. And we are required, if I may say that word, but we should be moving our bodies on a consistent basis. We need to be making time to just do that. The joints, let's take the joints. Right? Abbie always yelled at me for taking the scientific perspective here, but somebody out there appreciates this. I know they do. Your joints, they don't have a direct blood supply. How do you get any other nutrition or detoxification aspect of your health? Is by what the blood is able to drop off at like the tissue cell, right? So your skin, your brain, your heart, all of these things, they have a direct blood supply. And so it gets nutrition, it removes toxins, it does that by the blood. Well, the blood vessels, like the arteries, they stop short of the joints, whether it's your finger joint, your knee joint, a spinal joint, whatever. And the only way that it draws nutrients and fluid and healthy elements into the joint is through moving it. And so if the joint doesn't move well, it's going to stiffen up, it's going to get achy, it's going to get arthritic, all of these different problems are going to start to ensue. But it does so by creating basically like a suction, vacuum phenomenon to pull those nutrients into it. So we have to move our bodies. Like I know when I don't move, I get super stiff and achy. I know when I'm not moving enough, that's creating problems for me. And there's simple things you can start to do. If you're going from, couch potato to, marathon runner, you don't have to go run that marathon tomorrow. You can start with, there's this awesome thing out there called the 7-minute chair routine, I think. And it's awesome. Like you can do it with a chair. People do this on the road all the time. Like if they have to work a lot in hotels and stuff like that, because the hotel always has a chair in it. You can just do like 7-minute, like 1 minute, 1-minute little exercise routines that just gets your blood flowing, gets your joints moving, gets your body woken up for the day. Movement is so crucial. I can't reiterate that enough.
And we are at the prime age. If you don't use it, you lose it. So
This is true.
we found that out. We got a small trampoline for our basement for me to just start working on some like rebounding and
stuff.
Yeah, just some lymphatic movement type stuff. And it's really good for your kids too, to just be, jumping on that and stuff. But, hadn't jumped on a trampoline in a minute. I'm like, oh, I remember it being like that. That's for sure.
She was also trying to jump to the moon.
Yeah. I was like, no, Ryan, I get lightheaded. I get dizzy. I kind of pee my pants. He's like, well, like, what are you doing? Like, show me. And I showed him. And he's like, well, you don't have to touch the ceiling. And so he's like, your feet don't even need to come off the trampoline.
If she's not going hard, she doesn't feel like she's doing it right.
Right.
I'm like, you can just bounce on the trampoline to get the effect.
Like, but just think how much better my lymphatic system would be if I jumped really, really hard and fast. So just doing anything to move and finding what works best for you. Walking goes so far and is so underrated. And just help your kids to join in, whether that's evening walks or having a dance party in the living room. Our kids really like to do that. You can go on hikes, especially even in the winter. You bundle up warm enough and you can do anything outside. I'm convinced of that.
Don't let the weather people tell you anything otherwise. Yeah. You're not going to get frostbite because you walk outside for a few minutes in the winter.
I guess depending on where you live. But
well, that's true.
But probably not. And I just think it's just important for your kids to just see you taking your health seriously and modeling that for them and just making it fun and consistent and making sure that you're talking to yourself kindly whenever you do it. So, I know that everybody's tired and nobody has the time. Nobody has the motivation really. But just starting somewhere, going walking, doing a couple jumping jacks or push-ups or whatever that may be, just using your own body weight will go far.
Yeah, and I always talk with people about this too, because again, we have the idealistic construct that, wow, I'm gonna, my perfect day for my life, my health, and all this, it's gonna start, and I'm gonna spend 90 minutes at the gym, and then I'm gonna sit in the sauna, I'm gonna do this and that, and it's like we have these grandiose ideas, and then we, day 2 of our New Year's resolution rolls around, and we oversleep. I'm like, oh, well, throw it to the wind. It's like, you don't actually have to do that. You can have that if that's, let's call that your ceiling. And so if that's your ceiling, that's the top notch. Those are the days, okay, if everything goes right, we get all that stuff done. But if it doesn't, hey, my floor is that 7-minute chair exercise routine. Or what I like to do is, I've told people this, is 10 push-ups and 10 pull-ups, right? Like, I can knock that out on the I-beam in my basement, no problem, right? It takes me legit 2 minutes. It's no time at all. And so you can have for yourself a floor. Hey, I do that and I this, and I stretch my body before I get back into bed for the night. At the very least, I achieved and I checked that box on the movement pillar for me today. And no, I didn't hit my ceiling, but I definitely did at least the floor. And so we're never doing less than that. That's a great little tidbit of information you can adopt as well.
And really, don't even worry if you don't have your favorite podcast lined up to listen to when you work out, because it's a great time to practice being mindful and deep breathing and just really focusing in on that whenever you are doing any form of exercise that you do. So
might come to prefer it. I used to run with audio all the time. Now I actually like to do it in total silence, alone with my thoughts.
I know. I was going to say that's scary, but what better place to do it than out on a run? You can't run from it. So I just want everybody to try something, implement the smallest little thing that you maybe haven't done or don't do consistently. And I want to hear how it works for you, whether that's just doing a 10-minute stretch and being mindful during that on what you're grateful for and what you're feeling and what you're noticing in your body, and just see how these small changes can impact your day and your mood and how you show up and love others. From the bottom of our hearts, we want to say thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone you know and leave a review. By doing so, we're able to grow this community of amazing people just like you and raise a generation of children that know God and do His will on earth. We'll see you next time.
This is the Natural Parents Podcast with Ryan and Abbie Hukin.